Hello. We are all familiar with Western and Eastern game dev studios, their history, iconic projects, ups and downs, but have you ever wondered where all the big Russian game studios are? What are they up to? Are they hiding? Are they shy? Do they even exist? Long story short, from what I understood by watching some random Russian YouTube videos through auto-translate of auto-subtitles, the collapse of the Soviet Union and the subsequent economic crisis hindered the development of the gaming industry in what is now Russia, and it was more interesting for people to survive and try to adapt to the new reality in the new state. Some progress began in the early 2000s, when life became quieter. But this did not last long. The crisis of 2008 killed most of the prospects in the already not very strong Russian game development industry. Few survivors have moved to the mobile segment, where they currently feel quite comfortable. For example, Zeptolab, founded in 2008 in Moscow by two brothers Efim and Semyon, presented Cut the Rope to the world a couple of years later. By the end of 2015, different versions of Cut the Rope had been downloaded more than 700 million times. In 2017, they moved their headquarters to Barcelona. Another example is Playrix, a company founded in 2004 by two other brothers, Igor and Dmitry, in Vologda. Since 2013, Playrix has been headquartered in Dublin. Playrix is a developer of gardenscapes and homescapes, has about 3,000 employees and was valued at $8 billion in 2021. In 2023, it ranked third among the largest mobile game developers in the world in terms of revenue. I forgot the point that I was trying to make. Oh, yeah, the conditions for the creation and existence of Russian AAA studios did not work out historically. Therefore, using my extensive expertise in understanding the words I said earlier, I came to the conclusion that it's necessary to look for hidden gems in the indie sector, because indie games are cheaper and easier to make, so there just have to be something. I'm really proud of my big brain. You should be too. And now that we're done with a brief history of the gaming industry in Russia, we come to the real introduction. I was browsing Steam and a visual novel caught my eye. I thoughtfully assumed that this was another futafuri porn novel, so I obviously clicked on it. I was wrong, but also pleasantly surprised when I saw the ratings. 76,000 reviews with 93% of them being positive. Is this game peak? Then, if so, why did I hear nothing of it? Everlasting Summer is an independent visual novel, developed and released for free in December 2013 by the Russian enthusiast team called Soviet Games. The protagonist is a young man in his early 20s named Semyon. He has almost no social life. He lives on his parents' money. He spends all day on the internet. He has no will to change anything. One day he takes a bus that for some reason takes him through time to the 80s, to a pioneer camp, Sovyanok, or Owlet in English. Semyon then has to find answers. Why did he end up here? How to get out of this place? Does he even need to get out of here? Basically, you get a trans-dimensional time travel mystery covered as a dating sim. And even though you have 5 girls with their own routes and endings to choose from, the player gets to see how getting closer to different members of the camp changes the protagonist's beliefs and way of life. The routes are surprisingly varied, ranging from heartwarming and romantic to profoundly tragic and even metaphysical. The game isn't afraid to delve into dark themes like depression, suicide, and the nature of reality itself, which elevates it far beyond a simple romance simulator. Also, Everlasting Summer is soaked in this melancholic, nostalgic, and surreal atmosphere, which really pulls you in. This atmosphere is built through a combination of its visual and auditory design. The soundtrack creates a soundscape that is both beautiful and deeply lonely, perfectly mirroring Semyon's internal state and the camp's timeless, secluded nature. I don't want to spoil anything else, cause it's a story-focused game, but I feel obliged to let you know that Viola is a baddie, but, sadly, there's no route with her in the main game. And that's a clever segue to the mods and mod community based around this game. Obviously, the Steam Workshop is filled with simple things that allow you to tweak and change small details, like changing the UI, fixing bugs and providing other small quality of life improvements. But there's so much more that it actually blows my mind. These community additions include full-fledged new stories, prequels focusing on other characters, extending the life of Everlasting Summer for years after its release. But that is a topic for a whole another video. The only thing that I want to mention now is that I found some mods that are based fully around Viola which I really enjoyed. The soundtrack for this game is brilliant. The main theme is an absolute peak. There's not much else to say. If you decide that this game is not worth playing at all, you can still check out the music and probably enjoy it a lot. Tracks like Raindrops and A Promise from Distant Future are standout pieces that perfectly capture the game's unique blend of hope and melancholy. The game has a nice idea, well-written characters, but the main character's constant thoughts and observations become kinda boring as you play the game. It would not have been such a problem if he was not the character you spent most of your time with. However, you might like it more than me, so I will not list it as a major problem. Also, it's worth noting that this extensive internal monologue can slow the pace, but it effectively communicates Semyon's social anxiety, cynicism, and the profound sense of displacement he feels, making his eventual emotional breakthroughs more impactful. One playthrough has an average span of 7 in-game days. Each day takes approximately 1-2 hours to read through. There is an average number of 5 decisions to make per day that do have an impact on the story, so much there are 13 endings to discover. On top of that, the ending of day 5 and the following days are completely unique to the ending you're heading to. The branching narrative is surprisingly robust, with small, seemingly inconsequential choices made early on locking you out of or into specific routes hours later, encouraging multiple playthroughs to see everything the game has to offer. The art direction successfully creates a cohesive and immersive world, with the lush, sun-drenched landscapes of the camp contrasting sharply with the bleak, urban environments of Semyon's original life. The character designs are distinct and memorable, each one visually representing their personality and role within the camp's social structure. The summary is just play it already, it's free. Now we move to the second game of the video, not only because I want to drag out the runtime a little bit, but also because my Steam recommendations decided to surprise me with another game. And this game is also a visual novel, but set in the winter. So, while working on the script for Everlasting Summer video, I came up with an idea that if one game is set in summer, then it would be cool to pick a second game that is set in winter. Yeah, I know, another big brain moment. Such artistic choice deserves a subscription and a like in my opinion. So, I present to you Tiny Bunny. And let me tell you something, I think it might be even better. This game is a non-linear horror visual novel that was based on a short horror story by a Russian author Dmitry Mordas. This sounds extremely intriguing, so I just had to check it out. Yes, it costs $10, which is $10 more than Everlasting Summer, but hear me out, okay, it's worth it, I promise. The game takes place in 1999 in Russia. In the taiga area. The main character Anton Petrov and his family moved to the village there. He's only 12 years old. It would seem that his whole life is ahead of him, but he finds himself in this far from colorful story. He himself says that mom has changed, dad has changed, their relationship feels tense and he is scared that they might even divorce. His little sister Alya constantly sees some strange creatures outside the window. Either an owl, a fox, or someone else. Of course, it scares her very much, but her parents say, "Listen, I understand everything, but let's not talk about these fairy tales, it's already hard for us." And it is from this place that the exploration of the world begins. Obviously, I cannot tell you much more without spoiling it. But what you can do in order to find out whether this game is your cup of tea or not is to play a free demo. Or watch Markiplier's video about it. Right now I want to focus on the main aspects of the game. The art in this game is insanely stylish and cool. The choice to make the whole game mostly in black and white was an insanely big contribution to the overall unsettling atmosphere. It emphasizes shadows and contrasts, making the world feel stark and hostile. There are even some animated bits sprinkled here and there. I mean, for me personally, based only on the art of the game alone, I can say that my $10 were well spent. I won't rank the music itself in this game higher than in Everlasting Summer, just because it didn't move me the way that the main theme of Everlasting Summer did. But the sound design in Tiny Bunny, however, is exceptional. It relies heavily on ambient forest noises, unsettling silence, and sharp, sudden sounds to build tension and dread, making you constantly feel on the edge as you read.
Убери книгу немедленно.
Also, I have to mention that the entire game is fully voiced in Russian besides main character thoughts. And you should try to play with voices on, because even though it's a different language you still can appreciate the delivery, the voices, and emotions, which adds another layer of immersion and atmosphere to the game. The story ranking is tricky right now, because the game is not finished yet. But I can say that I immensely enjoyed all the 4 episodes available now. The characters are great, you deeply care about some of them and you viciously hate the others, but none of them are just blank slates with exposition dump instead of actual dialogue. The team that worked on the game did not just adapt the original short story to the visual novel, but used their memories of the time period in the game, their childhood fears and experiences, that deepens and expands the whole game. Therefore, Tiny Bunny, filled with references to various real things from Russia in the 90s. The game even has a special glossary that provides context to the terms that you might not know about. The cherry on top of the cake is replayability. Depending on the player's choice, the game can change radically. You can have a somewhat happy, fun, cute playthrough with a little bit of gore sprinkled on top. Or you can have a playthrough that consists of sadness, resentment and hate with maybe not so little gore. The non-linear story seems to be actually non-linear, because I watched some playthroughs after finishing mine and theirs were so different that I'm not even sure how the devs will be able to deliver an actually satisfying ending to, if not all, then at least some of the available paths. But I have high hopes because 4th and 5th episodes have a giant release gap between them. So I'll just say let's pray and let the devs cook. I have to say that right now the game is in early access which ends on December 5th, when the last episode comes out. Then the price will probably increase, so if you feel interested, you have to hurry. But in my personal opinion, judging by only the already available content, this game is peak and I think everyone should give it a try. Okay, that is my rant for today. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. The faster we accumulate big enough following, the faster I can become another clown on the internet that lives off his stupid ideas that comes to his decelerated head. I look forward to this. Okay, bye.